In the summer of 2012, the TF2 community gathered round in excitement. Team Fortress 2 was returning to Multiplayer Gaming's annual Insomnia Gaming Festival for the 4th time. After fielding European-only tournaments in its prior editions, Insomnia 46 signalled a change for the community. For the first time, we would see TF2's NA scene and its EU scene battle it out on LAN. Thanks to a community fundraiser, 2 teams would be flying over to Europe: Leviathan Gaming, a team comprised of infamous players such as Clockwork, Banny and Shade, and Classic Mix-Up, a team fielded of Team Fortress 2 veterans like Harblue, Ruin, TLR, Platinum and Enigma, going up against European premiership talent in a tournament that would set the standard for Team Fortress 2, for better or for worse. In most esports games, you'll have both community run events and developer run events. Sometimes the lines will actually blur and the game devs will come involved with / even sponsor community run events. However, in TF2, after 11 years, we are yet to see any hint of the latter ever happening. From way back in 2007, the community has done almost everything for Team Fortress 2. Whether it be creating art, in-game items, event organisation, or even bug fixing. The community has done it for Valve. And this runs into the competitive side of Team Fortress 2 as well. In order to have both Leviathan Gaming and Classic Mix-Up compete at the LAN, a community fundraiser was needed. The fact that the community was able to come together to financially support these teams is nothing short of amazing, and it really shows how excited these people were for the prospect of a fair fight between NA and EU. This started as a novelty idea, that with our community going bigger and bigger, and coming together like this, we could form amazing events like this one. But Valve was still nowhere to be seen. Flash forward 1 year. The summer of 2013. Once again, the community was stirring with excitement. Rumours that for the first time, a true international LAN would be held at this year's Insomnia, sending over Team Immunity, an Australian team, against High Rollers Gaming, an American team, to compete with the EU teams on their home turf. 3 continents would be competing at this one competition. This was once again exciting, but for some, the novelty was already beginning to wear off for people. Valve had still shown no real attention to the previous year's international LAN, and the more pessimistic folk within the community were already starting to have their doubts. Why should we put in our hard-earned money if Valve won't try to step in and help? I quote from the TF.TV forum thread surrounding the upcoming LAN. Sending American teams to I-46 brought virtually 0 exposure to this game, so it'd be kind of silly to spend so much money on it a second time expecting some different results. It's not about being able to send over an NA team to I-49, I'm sure it is possible. The thing is, simply, is it worth it? And to be honest, no. The general atmosphere was already quite mixed, some of it even quite bleak. Though the prior LAN was fun and resulted in some insane matches, objectively nothing had come of it. The increase from viewership for the competitive side of Team Fortress 2 was negligible at best. This, in conjunction with the fact Valve had shown really no sign or interest in investing in the competitive side of Team Fortress 2, made everything seem very bleak. But did that stop the community? Hell no. Not only did the TF2 community plough on to host I-49, but also I-52, I-55, I-58, I-61, and finally this year, Insomnia 63. With additional international LANs happening in between them such as Rewind 1, Rewind 2, and SWELAN. To me, this is incredibly inspiring. For a game that is almost 11 years old, the fact that a community can come together like this still is definitely not something to be overlooked. However, something has always been missing. From the get-go, this has still always been the community's doing. Whether it was organising the ESEA League for North America, creating our own league with ETF2L and UGC in Europe, or forming new modes of competition such as RGL 7v7, it's always been the community that has been behind everything in the TF2 community, every step of the way. with Valve still being nowhere to be seen, even now.
The first point, of course, so whoever takes this round will win the second.
Team Fortress 2 easily had the capacity to become an esport. I strongly believe that if Valve had taken notice of the competitive side of their game around the time of Insomnia 49, that TF2 could have seriously made a name for itself as an esport alongside Dota and CSGO. But they didn't. Valve seemingly just didn't care. There were pleas upon pleas for Valve to give the competitive community something, anything over the years. It didn't even have to be a Valve organised tournament. Even if they just donated $1,000 to a prize pool, which is pocket change for Valve, this would have been huge. It would have been such a big thing for the community to have any support that wasn't a blog post. But they didn't. And that was a huge mistake. With uncertainty filling the hearts of everyone in the competitive TF2 community as each year rolled round, it seemed like putting their time, energy, and money into this game was just not worth it. Though the LANs kept happening, it really felt like their effort was simply just being wasted, and people slowly started to drop off. Whether you were a player, a caster, an observer, a tournament organizer, or even just a spectator, it was hard to imagine that any of this was really worth it or going anywhere. However, a saviour had seemingly arrived. But it wasn't Valve. It was Blizzard? At BlizzCon 2014, Blizzard announced their first new IP in 14 years, Overwatch. Instantly people began comparing the new game to TF2, with both games operating on the class-based FPS genre, some describing it as a cross between Pixar and Team Fortress 2. And these comparisons weren't lost on TF2 players, and this caused a huge panic within the community. Legendary players like Clockwork, Muma, Mike, Shadowburn, and many more all began to show their interest with Blizzard's new IP. It seemed to give them the game they loved, the kind of game they wanted, but under a developer that seemed to care about them. It was clear that Blizzard did want to take their game in an esports direction after seeing how well their competitive tournaments did at the start of their game. Something that Valve routinely failed to do over the years. It seemed like the success of Overwatch kinda gave Valve a kick up the arse, with them realising that maybe they should try and do something for the TF2 community. And that ended up being Meet Your Match. Though the update released a relatively unsuccessful, very broken competitive mode that really didn't see much success whatsoever, it was nice that Valve was actively trying to do something, but it was too little, too late. This should have been done years ago, maybe in conjunction with them sponsoring a tournament or even organising their own. This could have been done so much earlier, and Valve really could have made something of competitive Team Fortress 2. But they didn't. Valve could have turned Team Fortress 2 into something revolutionary. But they didn't. For whatever reason, Valve never really wanted to commit any resources into the competitive side of Team Fortress 2. Even after the half-baked competitive update, it all felt very much lackluster. It can be debated why they never really showed any interest, but I don't think we'll ever really know. I believe that if Valve had committed to the competitive TF2 community back in its early stages, we could have easily had an amazing Tier 1 esport, perhaps one that could have stood where Overwatch stands now. But Valve didn't care enough. They didn't do anything. And we'll never know why Valve did what they did, but them not investing into TF2 further will always be their biggest mistake. Okay. I guess I owe everyone an apology and an explanation to why I've returned back to YouTube. Really, the reason I've come back after these past couple of months is it's quite hard to explain. Realistically, when I left YouTube, I felt it was a brash decision. But that's not the full reason I left. I guess the real reason I left YouTube 3 months ago was actually just because